Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday to you. We are on Holy Week right now, so this is Easter Sunday coming up, and tomorrow is Good Friday. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? So if you're joining me live today, or if you're watching the replay, make sure you say a hi in the comments. And for something a little bit different today, because I'm curious, and I know not everyone who is joining me is from the Twin Cities area, please share with me in the comments, what is the temperature where you are today? So I might be a little jealous by what some of you are sharing. If it's warmer than 30 degrees, I think we're at 30 degrees here in Minnesota, but that's okay because it's spring. Easter is coming up and there's plenty to look forward to. So make sure you comment below with what the temperature is in your neck of the woods, wherever you're joining me from live today. And while you're at it, make sure you say hi. My name is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami. If you're on my page, you probably have seen me before. If you have not been on my page before and this is the first time you're seeing me, make sure you click like on my page. And if you click on the three little buttons next to this video, you can click on get notifications so that whenever I go live that you can join me whenever I'm live. And I understand that not everyone catches me live, which is totally okay. You've all got busy lives, but that means you can still watch the replay on your own time in your own convenience. So make sure you do those few things. And today's title, if you notice that, is the one skill you really need in order to live a healthy lifestyle. Now, I posted this on my personal page about an hour ago to see what kind of feedback people would be giving me of what they thought would be the #1 skill. And Sandy weighed in with her opinion, which was to stop eating before you're full. Now, that's a really good one, Sandy, and thank you so much for contributing to that question. This is actually a concept that comes from Japan, I believe. They have a technical term for it, like a Japanese word for it, and I can't remember what it is. I know it starts with an H, but they say to stop eating when you're about 80% full, and that is certainly a good skill to master, especially in a world where we eat until we're gorged. Some of us are binge eaters, and it's a tough society, right? We're surrounded by food all the time, and it can be really hard for us to recognize our hunger cues and when we're done eating. I am certainly no exception to that. So thank you, Sandy, for weighing in. That's not what we're going to be talking about today, though. I'm going to be talking about something else today. The #1 skill you need to master in order to really live a healthy lifestyle. Now, this came up for me because tonight I'm going to go watch Michael Pollan, who, if you don't know who he is, I'm surprised how many people don't know who he is, in my network at least. He's a best-selling author, and he's kind of a food revolutionary. His whole thing was, if your grandma doesn't recognize it as food, then don't eat it. So he's all about, slow food, whole food, eating mostly plants and not as much meat. Going back to the basics in terms of cooking from scratch, putting more care and attention into what it is we're eating. And tonight I'm very fortunate to have tickets. I'm taking my husband with me. I'm calling it a date night. I don't know how much of a date night it's going to feel like for him. It's a lecture at a university. But I'm super jazzed and stoked to do this. I actually heard about the opportunity from my Fit for Mom fitness group that I work out with. They posted the link, and I'm so excited to be part of Fit for Mom because these are the kind of people who are excited to go do this too, and it excites me. So it's really nice to connect with people who are excited about the same things that you're excited about. But the whole reason I brought this up, and this is something I'm looking forward to, but Michael Pollan is a very big proponent of, he has a new book, and it's called Cooked. You may have read his previous book, which is called The Omnivore's Dilemma. He has some other books as well. I can't think of their titles off the top of my head. He is someone that I trust and I follow in terms of the kind of advice he gives, the kind of lectures he gives, and the kind of philosophy he has when it comes to food. So one of the things he's talking about tonight is that a lot of Americans, and I know my family is guilty of this as well, but a lot of Americans will actually tune in and watch food TV, whether it's Food Network, Cooking Channel. I mean, there must be millions of different kind of food channels out there. Even on regular access or public TV, you'll have like cooking shows, Chopped and Iron Chef and all those sorts of things. So in a quote from his newest book, Cooked, says that Americans will spend more time watching TV about cooking than they will actually cooking themselves. So if you haven't guessed yet, I've been kind of skirting around and walking around the issue. The number one skill you need to master in order to have a healthy lifestyle is cooking. Ooh. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How often per week do you currently cook? And when I say cook, I don't mean like you pull out a 5-course dinner, you have the fine china going on, you have a glass of wine. I don't mean that kind of cooking. I mean, how much food do you cook, or how many meals do you cook per week where it's you in your kitchen from start to finish putting out a home-cooked meal? And I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about this, because this is something that I feel is a lost skill, if you will. These days we have so much convenience available to us. We can go to fast food, and even if you're not a fast food person, which is fantastic, we do have other options like Carside to Go at some of the bigger restaurants. We have things like Grubhub and DoorDash, where they will literally deliver anything to you. You just have to pay a convenience fee or get the app or something like that. So we live in a society where, we live in a society where literally food is dropped at our door. And this could include our groceries as well. If you do grocery delivery service, which I know a lot of people are doing that more and more these days. I personally feel that grocery delivery is an amazing service for stay-at-home moms with really little kids. It's really hard to cart all your kids into the car and go to the grocery store and bring all your packets inside and that sort of thing. I know it's a lifesaver for some of my friends who have more than 2 kids at the house, and they're all, not going to school. It's a tough thing for them to manage the amount of groceries they need to feed their family and still cart their kids and their gear and all that stuff. It's also a fantastic service for older folks who maybe don't want to leave their home as much. They don't have as many grocery needs, but they still need to get food. Maybe they're not as physically able to carry packages and things like that, or maybe they don't have access to transportation other than a bus. But those grocery delivery services are amazing. And last, let's not forget things like Blue Apron, HelloFresh, where they literally will deliver the food to you, but they'll take it one step further and they'll show you like a recipe, a preparation, how you can prepare that food into a lovely meal for your family to enjoy. A special note about that, these, meal delivery services like Blue Apron and HelloFresh, I have not tried them personally, so I can't necessarily speak to them, but I do see a lot of people in my network who are saying, I prefer this service versus that service. Regardless of what service people seem to go with, they're very expensive. And one of the reasons why some people might choose to eat at home is because they have to, right? They don't have the money, they can't afford to eat out every day, which is a good thing from a health standpoint. Now, why am I talking about cooking and why is it so important? Let me tell you what, as a health coach, as a person who has personally lost 100 pounds, it wasn't until I discovered and found recipes and tried different techniques in the kitchen that I was really able to get a handle on the kinds of foods that supported my health goals. So going from a traditional household where we ate a lot of boxed and prepared foods, mac and cheese, scalloped potatoes with ring bologna, a lot of ground beef, a lot of tacos. We're a Hispanic family, we're going to have tacos. But I ate a lot of prepackaged things. Everything from the spice packet for our taco meat to the dehydrated potatoes in a box with God knows what in the packages. That is how I grew up. So that's the only kind of food preparation that I was aware of. You buy a box, you add some water, you add some milk or some butter, and then you heat it up. A lot of our vegetables were cooked in the microwave, and they were from a can. And, I'm not saying that this is everyone's experience, that's how they grew up, but I had limited cooking skills when I left my house. So I didn't leave my house until I was 20 years old. I came to the University of Minnesota out here. I'm from Wisconsin originally, and I had to figure out how to cook my own food. So for the first year or two, while I was going to school full-time and working part-time, I had to figure out, how do I cook for myself? And I made a deal with myself that I wasn't going to eat out, and I rarely ate out, maybe once every 2 weeks or so. As a college student, I rarely ate out. But what I was doing was I was defaulting to these canned and processed foods, sometimes frozen if it was a frozen pizza, because that's all I knew. And I had limited time, and I had little interest in making big prepared meals for just one person. Do you feel that way too? If you're watching me here on the video or watching the replay, do you hesitate to cook a lot of food for just one person? And that's if you're single, or maybe if you're by yourself during the daytime or by yourself during evening. Do you find yourself defaulting to a bowl of cereal or defaulting to something that doesn't take any time at all to put together? I'm not here to judge you for that. That's what I used to default to as well when I was single. So, you know, by and large, and I see this a lot in older populations as well, you know, widows, people who don't want to put a lot of time and effort into their cooking, they'll just default back to those processed and packaged foods. That's not the best thing to do in terms of your overall health. So how do you learn how to cook? Like maybe your mom did the same thing. Maybe you are familiar with the packaged foods, and maybe you find that that's what your kids gravitate towards, so that's what you tend to serve because they'll actually eat it. Then they're done that. I know what that feels like. How do you learn to cook without resorting to those meal delivery services, right? Where you'll pay, you know, $200 a week to have these foods delivered to you, and then whether your kids will eat them or not is still up in the air. That kind of sucks. I remember seeing a commercial for one of those delivery services, and the meal preparation was steak frite. Basically a steak and potato and fries. Maybe it was like baked fries or whatever. But I'm like, you can make that without having a bunch of fancy ingredients in a fancy package sent to your door. You just go to the grocery store and you get a steak. Put some salt and pepper or whatever else, or garlic, whatever you like on your steak, on that piece of meat, and you broil it or you bake it, right? I'm like, what's so complicated about that? I was really kind of mystified as to how such a simple preparation can be made into a big production. And that's another thing I'd like to bring up. Because I grew up with this mindset of quick, easy, convenient, one dish, one bowl, one pan, what have you, the kinds of recipes that I was exploring when I was trying to lose weight were the kinds of things that took one pan, one bowl, very quick and easy, not a lot of complicated ingredients. So that is the philosophy I bring to it. It's not that I'm a culinary chef or I have masterpieces on my table. I literally could care less what my food looks like. I just like that it tastes good. So if you're kind of intimidated, you're like, well, I can cook, I can boil pasta, but I'm not going to make it look as beautiful with a little parsley on top and all those things. Those things may not matter as much to you, and that's okay. But ideally, the skill you're going to be learning is how to cook. There are a couple of ways you can approach learning to cook. And even if you know how to cook basic things, but you want to explore different ways of cooking, different methods of preparation, it comes down to, first of all, the tools you're using. And I'm not saying you need to go to like Pampered Chef and buy, you know, drop several $100s on fancy tools. But when you think of the recipes you like to prepare the most, or when you think about the ingredients you're using the most, does it serve you to have a hand chopper or a processor to chop those things for you? Is that of service to you? Don't buy it if you almost never do those things. If you never chop vegetables because you buy them pre-washed or pre-chopped or pre-whatever, by the way, you pay additional money for that. And why would you pay someone to chop it for you? That's part of the experience of cooking is chopping things, prepping things, getting them ready. You don't need to pay additional $1 or $2 for someone to do that for you. That kind of adds to your experience, and it doesn't take that long to chop something. So just throwing that out there. So if you're someone who does a lot of chopping and prepping, then a hand chopper or a tool like that, or a blender or a processor might be helpful for you. And start small. You don't need like a $300 machine to get somewhere with that. And what else might be helpful for you? So for example, me, I do a lot of grab and go portable kinds of things. So for me, a muffin tin or a muffin pan are absolutely critical. I have a loaf pan for like egg muffins, banana muffins. I have a mini tin for just about everything else. Corn muffins, savory muffins, sweet muffins, just about everything. I'm a muffin fanatic. I'm a breakfast fanatic. So those kinds of things are critical to my kitchen. Hi, Asha. What other things do you tend to find yourself cooking? I do a lot of sheet pan meals. So I need to have a really good sheet pan that doesn't, rust and corrode and get nasty. And that way I can throw my meat on there, I can throw my vegetables on there, and dinner's ready in 30 minutes. I gravitate towards that type of cooking. But maybe you're a person who's like, I like soups and I like stews. Okay, get yourself a crock pot, get yourself an Instapot, if you will. Hi, Asha. Toss it all in there, let it cook while you're busy going about your day, and then you're ready to go. By the way, I don't have an Instapot, but I know it's like a big deal. Asha. I know it's a big deal, so a lot of people are like, well, I have this wonderful $100 tool. What do I do with it? I would caution you not to rush and buy a bunch of things that you don't anticipate using, or you don't have recipes to utilize for it. And because why would you spend all that money for something you may or may not use? We use a rice cooker a lot at home because it's easy, it's quick. You can make lots of recipes with rice cooker, honestly, not just rice. You can make all sorts of other things. One thing that's critical for me is a waffle iron. Not only can you make waffles in it, you can make potato latkes, you can make vegetable latkes, you can make omelets, you can make all sorts of things in a waffle iron. So look at the tools you have in your kitchen. If you constantly find yourself saying, oh gosh, I need this in order to prepare this, then go and buy that for yourself. You can find deals out there, there's all sorts of things. And take this opportunity to spring clean your kitchen. Is there a tool you bought like 3 years ago that you never use because you don't use it? Bless you. Then get rid of it, donate it, throw it away, give it to someone who might use it, that sort of thing. It's a good opportunity for you to spring clean. So first of all is the tools. Second of all is the recipes. Whoa. I'm probably not the only one who has like millions of cookbooks in my house, and I've used maybe 3 recipes from each of them. Hi, thanks for joining us. So if you have a full lineup of cookbooks and you haven't cracked open one in 2 years, then maybe you should donate some of those cookbooks too. But stick to one and say, okay, one time a week, I'm going to cook a new recipe from this cookbook. Be really strategic about it. If you have like, what's going on? If you have like a vegetarian cookbook and you cannot stand going vegetarian for even one meal, donate it. You don't need it anymore, right? Maybe it was a good idea at the time, but maybe it's not something you're interested in pursuing, and that's totally okay. Get rid of it. One of the cookbooks I use the most frequently is my Cooking Light cookbook because, yes, it's a low-fat approach, and I'm not necessarily low-fat, but some of those recipes were tested in my kitchen. My kids love them, including this one back here. Loves them. And they were easy to prepare because I only prepared the ones that took a certain amount of steps. If it's more than like 8 steps, I'm probably not going to do it. And some of those recipes take like 25 steps. I'm like, forget that. I don't have that time. So, just choose one cookbook in your current counter and say, I'm going to do 1 recipe a week from this book. And then plan out those recipes. Don't do that. That's very distracting. So there's what you can do. If you're not a cookbook person, like maybe you don't have a cookbook, but you have Pinterest and you have 1,000 Pinterest recipes, are you going to use any of those? I collect hundreds and hundreds of recipes because I support my health coaching clients with meal plans. And sometimes I need meals for different specific diets that I don't currently follow myself. So that's helpful for me to keep that cataloged and organized in Pinterest. That doesn't mean I use all of them or I cook all of them, but I have my go-to recipes on Pinterest. And I actually have a secret board that no one else can see, just me. But those are my weekly rotation kinds of recipes if I haven't memorized them. I have a waffle recipe that I memorized because I literally did it so many times. I'm like, I know what I need to do. Super easy for me to do. So find a way to organize yourself in such a way that you know exactly what you're going to start trying out. And you can do it by food. You can do it by ingredient. You can do it by type of diet. You can do it however you want to do it. But make the commitment to do 1 new recipe a week. By the way, because this is important, a lot of people who are starting to cook or starting to explore a different way of eating don't really know or have the time to go search for recipes. I can help you with that. I actually do meal planning support. I think they gave you a like. I think that was for you. See that little thumbs up? That was for you. So if you need support with finding recipes that work for you, I can help you. I do weekly meal plans. I do monthly meal plans. Again, all budget friendly, real food. I don't recommend protein powders or those sorts of things or mystery ingredients or superfoods. That's not helpful for most people I work with. It's not helpful for me. We're going to start you with what you have, what you need, and what you'd like more of, and then we'll get you started with that. I also do custom plans. So I do have some plans that are available for purchase on my website, but I also do custom plans. So if you're someone who has a number of dietary restrictions, or you're exploring a different way of eating that's totally foreign to you, I can come up with a meal plan for you that will make sense for what you're looking at. So if that's something you'd like more support around, I can help you with that. So we talked about today the most important skill you can have when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. Yes, you can call it in, right? You can call up to get order taken, order out, whatever. There's so many different places, restaurants, food delivery, grocery, that will deliver straight to your door. There's a lot of snacks that will deliver straight to your door. I'm not saying it's not possible for you, but if you don't find a way to master the skill of cooking in your own home with ingredients you know how to use and food that you love to eat, then chances are good you're never going to master taking control of your health, because that's one of the skills that you can't call in. You can't call it in day after day. If you do, you're going to find yourself slipping into a place where maybe you don't feel the most comfortable, and maybe you don't feel like you're healthiest. That's one of the skills I mastered and have continued to master as I service my clients, as I go through my own dietary changes, as my children get older and develop different tastes as well. That is the best skill I have today. And again, you don't have to be like Iron Chef in the kitchen, but you do need to master the basics of how to cook the kind of food that you love to eat that also supports your goals. If that's something you'd like more assistance with, I have a special invitation for you. I am running a group coaching program, which is called Let It Go. And in this program, every week we have support around your specific goals. So if your specific goal includes, how do I figure out how to cook? How do I figure out what to eat? I can meet you there, because every week we provide a meal plan. Every week we provide recipes for your specific needs. The purpose of the program is to get you to achieve 2 more steps closer to your ultimate health goal. It's a 6-week-long program, so you're not going to reach your total Shangri-La of health within 6 weeks. That's totally unrealistic. What we can do is we can get you down a certain number of pounds. We can get you into a consistent meal planning based, schedule or routine. We can get you into a consistent exercise routine. All of that can be accomplished in 6 weeks. So if you're interested in learning more about that, it's called Let It Go. I will pop a link below here. I am having phone conversations with people who are interested to tell them more about the program, what's involved, what the cost is, and most importantly, if it's a good fit for you, because I don't want you to join if it's not a good fit for you. So I'll pop my link below there to schedule that free phone call with me, and let me know if you'd like to take me up on that offer about meal planning. So meal planning is a resource. You don't have to work with me as your coach to get meal planning. That's a totally separate service. So I will pop that link below these comments as well. If you are watching me live, thank you so much, and thank you for the likes and the hearts. I very much appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and weigh in with your thoughts and let me know how you'd like to connect and how I can serve you and your health. Until then, this is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami, and this is Asha over here, who is joining us impromptu cameo for the #1 skill you need to master in order to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm so excited to see Michael Pollan tonight. I hope you're excited for your weekend coming up, and we'll talk to you next week, Tuesday morning at 9:30 Central Time. I hope you can join me live for another topic that you care about that has to do with health. So thank you for joining me. I'm just leaving now, but make sure to watch the replay. Have a good day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.